Thank you very much. First off, let me thank everyone that's watching the live. Whether you're watching it live right now, whether you're watching a replay, whether you're on Twitch, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on our TikTok, our Facebook, or any of our accounts for social media. I should say thank you to all the supporters, everyone that's been there for us. There are times where we are prepared months in advance for panels that we are going to host for conventions like AllCon, Comic Palooza, Colossal Con, Delta, BACon, OniCon, maybe Etchy Fiesta, maybe Etchy Expo, UshiCon, IkiCon, San Japan. At one point, we didn't really prepare that often, and we started preparing more and more months in advance. When we signed up to host this Dragon Ball panel, we named it It's Over 9,000, celebrating 40 years of Dragon Ball. On December 3rd, the Dragon Ball manga in Japan debuted. We were going to talk about Dragon Ball and its cultural impact all around the world. In Mexico, Argentina, all over Central and South America. But when you're prepared, life changes things to where you must adapt, you must change. Sometimes you can have a plan and then life punches you in the face. So I have a speech written. We had a few people coming in to give a speech, and we're going to allow people to come to give a speech for the live stream. So for the people that are here in the panel right now, we are also live streaming. So if you would like to come up and say something, you're more than welcome to. Today, so for those, Akira Toriyama passed away March 1st. And if somebody could help me out, I know it's a blood clot in the brain. And what hurt me the most, so I try to be very private. I'm on the show, I play a character, I joke around, I talk about all these crazy things I do. I make jokes, I cuss, I make fun of myself for being Latino. But there are things in my life that people don't realize. In the beginning of the year, the very blood clot that took Akira Toriyama, my mother had the same thing. She went to the ER before New Year's. We were with her there, and she almost didn't make it. But by a miracle, she pulled through. She's recovering. She's doing better. And when I found out what had happened, it hit me much harder. I didn't personally know Akira. He wasn't like a family member. He wasn't. We weren't friends. We didn't go stomping through the club or anything like that. But the man was an inspiration, not just to me, but to all of entertainment, really. Because think about it. For those of you that don't realize, when other creators of other comic book characters passed away, was it the same thing? When the creators of Superman passed, was it almost like the same thing? The creator of Batman was the same thing. There are few people in our lives that inspire us, show us. They come in here, they inspire us to be something different, or inspire us to be artists, writers, content creators, right? Without Dragon Ball, I would not be a panelist. I would not have Geeks 5 ever, because we started off as a Dragon Ball panel, as a Dragon Ball videos. We talked about Dragon Ball. Leading up to this panel, I had a whole speech written about his life, his legacy, everything he has done. The man, the myth, the legend. But before the panel started, the speech just didn't feel right. Because I should come up here and speak from my heart. This man gave us Dragon Ball, and that's what I appreciate the most. Yes, I'm obsessed with Dragon Ball. People say I'm the Dragon Ball guy, I'm the Dragon Ball Z, nut, the freak, whatever. My pajama pants, socks, you can't see them. I told myself I was never going to wear these. Never. Literally this morning, I ripped the tags off these pajama pants. Ripped the tags off these socks. I didn't wear the boxers though. I felt sick. I felt nervous. I felt sick leading up to this. Because I'm not the speech guy. I'm not the sentiment. It's hard for me to give these kind of speeches. I could go on stage in front of 500 people and talk about how Pokemon is not that great. But when it comes to speaking on the behalf of the memory of an individual, it's just not the same. Akira Toriyama was loved and praised all over Central and South America. Like I said, they had parades, they had gatherings. Even the cartel themselves paid respect to Akira Toriyama. So there are going to be a few people that come up to give a speech, and I will give one more. So I have a friend of mine who's going to come up here first. He's a voice talent. I'll let him introduce himself. But like I said, once again, thank you. If you're watching here, if you're here in the panel right now, thank you. And if you're watching live on the stream, thank you. Because without you guys, I don't say this enough, without the people in this panel, without the viewers, without our subscribers, without our helpers, there is no Geeks Family. Without the fans for any sport or show or anything, there's nothing. There is no WWE. There is no Naruto. There is no UFC without the people. Everything we do, we try to do for the people. We're not like The Rock. We don't want to be the people's champion, but we would like to give back to our community.
Hi guys, my name is Steven. I'm a voice actor who's been doing work for Crunchyroll on the One Piece dub, Tsukimichi for about 1.5 years now. I originally started working in Houston market. That's where I met Jesse as well. I've been a Dragon Ball fan for about 15 or so years now, but I've been aware of Akira Toriyama's influence for way longer than that. Chrono Trigger was the very first RPG I ever played and finished, and you cannot experience that game without seeing everything in it that's influenced by him. Toriyama's style is distinctive, it's unique, it is whimsical. I think one thing that people tend to forget, I love the hell out of Dragon Ball, but I started a little bit later than other people. I jumped into it and watched it from the beginning of OG Dragon Ball, starting with episode 1 in Japanese, going all the way through to the end of GT at the time. Watched every movie. I had the full experience and I fell in love immediately. I love his action. I love the way he sets up panels. I love the manga itself. The manga itself is pretty much a work of art. But the thing about Toriyama that is especially wonderful is that Toriyama, his comedy, his whimsical humor, more than anything, grabbed me right away. I thought, honestly, as a younger fan, I kind of thought, oh, it's just an action show. But then I realized, no, it is a franchise that is full of wonderful characters, wonderful life. You can also see this if you read Dr. Slump, which was the first manga that he became really, really big for. The character of Aurelie is hilarious. He is a satire artist who became big for action panels because he was just that talented. Osamu Tezuka, who's pretty much the godfather of manga, considered him his direct successor. He said his work was, before he passed in the 80s, he said Toriyama's work was almost too good. And really, if you pay attention to what's been going on in the world, if you look at the influence this fandom has had, how widespread and far it's spread, I don't know if I can think of anybody else in anime culture, in manga culture, in only a handful of people really in Japanese culture who have the extent of the reach that he has. It's profound. And he had very humble beginnings too. He, if I remember correctly, he grew up in Nagoya, which is another city in Japan outside of Tokyo. He was a schoolboy who just started reading manga. He loved it. He fell in love with Tezuka's work specifically, the same man who later said he was too good and considered him a successor. And he just started drawing. He drew whatever came to mind. He drew and designed based on things he saw in the real world. He loved insects. He designed characters based on insects. There's so many different wonderful things that Toriyama brought to us. I mean, in my own life, now working as a professional voice actor in kind of what some people consider the next big successor to Dragon Ball, I still think back to this fandom every time I've been lucky enough to sit in there and record in the booth. I think about the passion that Toriyama brought to his work. I think about the passion that he inspired other actors in both Japan and the US, some of who are now recording alongside me in this show, something I feel very blessed to have that opportunity for. I think about the passion they brought in. I'm inspired by these people. Christopher Ayers was the person who directed me in the booth for the very first time about 9 years ago now, and he's another person whose death was very, very difficult to take in, since I both got to know him professionally as well as a kind of a friend as well. And hearing about Toriyama's death feels like reliving a little bit of that all over again. I think the thing I probably remember the most, if I'm going to talk about the influence of Toriyama, his reach, was probably the end of the Tournament of Power. I don't think there's any moment in my anime fandom, which I've been a fan for like 30-something years now, I don't think there's any moment that struck me more than watching the videos of huge crowds in Latin America gathering around to watch that tournament. And although Toriyama didn't write the manga itself panel by panel like he did the original run of the OG manga, he still had a strong influence on everything that's come out in about the past 10 years or so, since Battle of Gods and the new material came along. To watch the crowds reacting to Goku's fight against Jiren, to watch them see the Ultra Instinct moment, which is still very much something inspired by Toriyama's design. Everything about that particular ability for Goku came directly from Toriyama's own ideas. It was the ultimate form that he wanted the character to have, and it is the most pure martial arts form Goku has ever had. And to watch people react and have that come to life and see giant crowds cheering over his victory and the end of the tournament and everything, it's one of the most profound things I've ever seen, and it truly reminds me of just how much impact you've had. You had people cheering for Goku's victory at the end of that tournament as if he had just saved our own universe. That sounds campy, but that's the best way I can say it. And when they're doing that, they're not just cheering for Toei or Nozawa or the voice actors or the dub actors or whoever they're happening to listen to at the time. They're cheering for what Akira did for their life, for how he's inspired them, for how he's changed their lives. And it's global. It's not just in the English-speaking world. It's not just in Japan. It's everywhere. And that is one of the most powerful examples of a creative I've ever seen. It is hard because Toriyama was working passionately on his projects right until he passed. We don't know all the details because he was an extremely private man by choice. There was apparently signs in front of his house that said, "Please believe me, B, thank you," something along those lines. And not that many people actually got to interact with him in person, even within the industry, but we all felt his influence. And he loved this stuff. He was working on it right until the end. And he could have retired a long time ago and said, "Hey, I've done enough." But he wanted to do it right up until the end. And we have new material still coming that's inspired by him. I look forward to seeing what he does with Daima when that comes out, because that is one of the last big works that he's worked on that is going to be coming out in his name. I know other material like Sandman he's worked on as well, going to be coming out. Dragon Quest 12 probably has had at least some influence from him. I mean, gosh, I could go on. And I don't want to take up too much more time here and take away everybody else's speech, but let's just say, remember that joy. Remember that whimsical joy that Toriyama brought to his works. The joy, the love of living life is what made the action of Dragon Ball so impactful, because you knew there was something worth fighting for. Bring that joy to other people in your life. If you do nothing else, don't bring the negativity, don't bring the hate, don't bring the malice. Bring joy to people's lives. Remember that. I think that's more than anything else what Toriyama wanted us to learn from. Thank you for listening to me and have a wonderful day.
Did y'all want to give a few words as well? So I'll say this. We did have a few people lined up to give speeches. One's at work. I think two of them overslept. And when Stephanie agreed to be here to give her speech, which we did record and we're going to post on the channel later, because when we okay, we just recorded it. I made a video. It's crazy because I worked on this video that we made for the podcast. And I'm going to show it here. It's cool. I like it. It's cool. Where's the TV? That was my first response. As soon as we walked in, I forgot we don't have a TV. There goes half the pen. But it's interesting that, you talked about the impact that it had. Because in Mexico, I heard about that stuff. It was awesome. It was amazing. 10,000 people were gathering to watch Dragon Ball Super live in Mexico City. It got so bad, the Japanese embassy sent a cease and desist to the Mexican government. It was bad. They're like, hey, bro, you gotta stop. That's our stuff. It got so bad. The cartel got involved. If you went to any, how do I phrase this so it's PG? Adult entertainment club that involves exotic dancing. They were like, if Goku wins the Tournament of Power, everyone gets a free lap dance. I'm not even kidding. Google it. And so the people wanted to watch Dragon Ball Super, and they were willing to watch it by any means necessary. And they offered to buy a license. Bro, sell us a license and get some money out of this, or we're going to pirate it and you get nothing. Toei Animation got involved, the Japanese government got involved, the Mexican government got involved, the cartel got involved. So many people got involved because that's how much the Mexican culture loved Dragon Ball. In Argentina, they had parade, they had gatherings and parades. They had soccer games where they held up giant banners of Goku, Vegeta, all these characters. People were thanking Akira Toriyama. Why is Akira, and people like the newer anime fans, to kind of explain why Akira Toriyama is so important. Think of all the modern day anime that have come out that he has inspired. Naruto, Yu Yu Hakusho, Bleach, My Hero. Oda wrote a speech, a very, very good lengthy speech. But there was something in there that he said which kind of broke. He talks about how Akira was his inspiration. Mishimoto read his mangas every day after school. But he said that when they met Akira and he was their mentor, they called him sensei. Akira-sensei. And Akira Toriyama called them friend. And they looked up to him. Archie Comics did a tribute. The guy that created Tails did a tribute. Without Dragon Ball Z, we wouldn't have Super Sonic. And if you play Super Smash Brothers, you hate Super Sonic. We wouldn't have Knuckles, the enchilada. Echidna. No, sorry, it's a joke. I know he's an echidna. I like to make that joke. Enchilada. He inspired, like, we've had an awful epic rap battle history of Goku and Superman. It's awful. We also had Death Battle, who's done 3 Goku versus Superman fights. But people wonder, that especially the newer fans, why is Dragon Ball so popular? Why is it still so popular? Why is Goku so inspirational? It's over, it's done, move on. Let me tell you why. And somebody from Argentina said it. When you look at Dragon Ball, all you see is violence. That's not what we as Latinos see. Goku is an individual. When he faces any obstacle in his life, it is nothing he can't overcome. He works hard, he trains, he's tenacious, he's determined. And by working harder, by trying, by having ganas, desire, he does his best to accomplish his goals. And sometimes he doesn't accomplish those goals. He doesn't always win. And that's kind of reflective of life. Sometimes we don't win. But that's okay. Why is it okay? Because we don't give up. Life sucks. Life is hard. And it's not going to get easier. Akira was passing on the torch to Taro. And to be honest, we talk about Akira, and if you ever read the manga, Akira complained a lot. Ugh, I hate lengthy manga. I'm thinking about ending this next week. Super Saiyan was legitimately created because he wanted to save time and money. He got sick of color. He's like, oh, my producer we're wasting a lot of ink coloring Goku's hair every panel, every single time. Super Saiyan, which is now considered one of the most iconic, inspirational transformations of all time. But he did it to save a buck. He's like, and he never expected it to become that popular. He said in an interview, when he started Dr. Slump, it was a failure. But Dr. Slump is one of his greatest creations of all time. He did the art for Blue Dragon, Dragon's Quest, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. He's done so many different projects, video gaming. He's manga, anime, video gaming. Like, what happened in Mexico inspired the soundtrack for Dragon Ball Super Broly. And like, he made this a Japanese anime, which became a part of Latino culture. It's like you made it over here, but we're gonna adopt it. And it works. And it's crazy to think because people don't realize, but the manga artists, the animators now looked up to Akira. They did. They read his manga, whether it was Dragon Ball, Dr. Slump, or anything. And they took that inspiration. So in a way, Akira helped create the modern day anime genre. He helped inspire all of our current shonen animes, whether it was directly or not. Because look at Naruto. Believe it. Naruto wears. At one point, I'm not really that familiar with Naruto because I stopped watching it after a while. But he did go what I looked like Super Saiyan. Golden aura, spiky hair, overpowered, blows up the moon. Sounds about right. But like I said, I had this entire speech ready, and when leading up to this panel, you can ask anybody that knows me, I was stressing out because I was afraid. Like, nobody's gonna watch the stream, nobody's gonna show up to the panel. It's Saturday, it's 10 in the morning. People are gonna be drinking, people are gonna be hungover. Time is at 10. And I felt that way too. I was like, oh. What time was it? When I went to bed, it was 6 in the morning. And then I woke up at 8. Right now, I feel horrible because I felt nervous. I was a nervous wreck. And I've hosted panels in front of 500 people. I've hosted panels at Enemy Monster, and I'm not going to take a shot at them. But I have hosted panels at Comic Palooza, Enemy Monster, in front of 500 people. And I wasn't nervous at all. Like, coming here, it could have been an empty room. Could have been 100 people. Could have been 2 people. Could have been myself. My crew could still be in the room sleeping, and I'm down here with a tripod, selfie stick. I felt, because this was not something we had even planned for. If you go and look at the program, it says over 9,000, celebrating 40 years of Dragon Ball, which turns 40 this year. We're going to talk about rumors, Dragon Ball, Sparkling Zero, Legends, Diamond, all this stuff, rumors, maybe share some tea. And everything happened so fast. And when we finally found out, it was after Akira had already been buried, which I understand because he was a very private man. But a lot of people have said this over the internet. I know we're kind of late, but we wanted to do this here at Allcon. Why Allcon? Well, for one, we're already on the schedule. But I appreciate Allcon. I'll tell you why. I've been to a lot of anime conventions. I've been to a lot of Comic Cons. I've been to gaming cons, Renaissance festivals, whatever. There was one other con that tried to do what Allcon is doing. They were called Realms Con. And the last time I checked, I could be wrong, but they're not around anymore. But Allcon still is. Allcon has been through a lot of ups and downs, and they're still here. And I love this convention. There's a reason why I submitted so many panels. There's a reason why we have 11 panels. There's a reason why I'm running on like 5 Red Bulls and 30 minutes of sleep. because I want to get back to this convention. I want to get back to the community. I might come off as a jerk sometimes, but that's just my character on the podcast. In real life, even if we don't like each other, even if we hated each other, I would go out of my way to help you, no matter who you are. Because that's what I learned from Dragon Ball. I learned to never turn my back on anyone, no matter how bad they are. Goku gave Frieza a chance. He gave everyone a chance. So I do that now. So, is there anyone that would like to say anything before we? So this next one, I'm going to say in Spanish. Gracias para todos que están aquí para el video. Akira Toriyama, lo vamos a... Perdón porque mi español no es tan bueno, porque yo puedo hablar español, como nada, cuando vamos comiendo o platicando o cual sea. Pero cuando tengo que hablar, dar un speech, algo así, no casi puedo hablar español tan bueno, porque mi acento sale, no puedo recordar las palabras. ¿Verdad?
Never mind.
No, what were you saying?
I was going to say Goku is the consummate warrior, and that all the people who he's ever fought, he had such tremendous respect for, and he gave them that second chance, even if they were pure evil.
Sure.
And he never let failure get him down, because sometimes he lost. And
He lost a lot.
That's what made him into a great character. There's no Deus Ex Machina coming in to save the day. He knows that even if he gave it his all, he wouldn't always win. But he just, that inspired him to get stronger.
It's true. But, how much time do we have left?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. So, I want, so for those of you that are here, I did bring my visual art books for Akira's illustration. This one's still sealed, but I'm going to actually open it up so y'all can go through it. These are from my personal collection. This is probably not even 1% of my stuff. But these are actual visualizations. This right here is kind of cool. It is the Pioneer VHS, still sealed, of Dragon Ball Z when it was released in North America. Right? Does it even have the Funimation? It has the Bandai logo on it. Oh, that's funny. Funimation's on there. This. Approximately 80 minutes, color, stereo. That's so we're gonna film this last part. We do have a few people here, and I want to thank them. Like I said, thank the fans. Thank the people that are watching the live replay. I know some people are at work. I know some people are still asleep, and that's fine. We all have lives. We all have things to do. We all have bills to pay, families to feed, people to take care of, and that's absolutely fine because Akira has moved on to his next adventure in the next life. But just like when the people that inspired me to be who I am, Eddie Guerrero, Akira Toriyama, and I can't really think right now because I'm like I said, I'm exhausted. And there's a lot of people that have inspired me. I've lost a lot of friends. I've lost family members. But the one constant that I hear from everyone is, even before the people that have passed have said this, life goes on. Time stops for no one. Or as Eddie Guerrero once said, the show must go on. Why do we do that? Does that sounds a little insensitive? Yes. But the people that love us, we love them. The people that love their fans would want us to celebrate their love. And that's the purpose of this panel. We were celebrating Akira Toriyama. Why? Because he gave us so much. And that's what we try to do. Por todos que están viendo el video ahorita, tengo un favor. quiero que pongan sus manos en el cielo. Yo quiero que pongan sus manos en el cielo ahorita. Por una última vez. Dale a Akira su energía. Porque Akira va a necesitar tu energía en el vida nueva. Levantan sus manos al cielo. Y dale su energía. Una última vez. Dale. So, if you guys could just stand up for a second. So we're going to get we get a picture. So what I said in Spanish. So I want everyone that's here to raise your arms to the sky one last time. So that we may give Akira our energy for his new adventure in the next life. Vamos a levantar sus manos, pero quiero decir gracias para todos para ver el video en inglés. No casi hacemos videos en español, vamos a hacer más, pero le quiero dar las gracias a todos que están viendo. No nomás la gente, la gente latina, hispana, pero a todos en el mundo, en la tierra. Gracias. I want to thank you guys for coming here. The people who are watching live. I got to translate for some of our viewers. Like, what? This ain't Telemundo. Hold on, where's the SAP button? Subtitles. That's tomorrow. So, if you're at home, if you're watching live replay, raise your hands to the heavens and give Akira your energy. Thank you. Maybe not, who knows, but eventually, I believe that all those, not just Akira who have passed, I will see them again. And it's like Goku said, until we meet again, thank you guys.